Can
Okay, base. If
wait,
there were two brothers,
wait, let's go
if
into
there were,
Daled. Let's start with Daled.
okay, dollar. Okay. If he married her, she is considered his wife in every respect, except that her ketubah obligation will rest upon the estate of her first husband. The commandment is for the eldest to perform yibum. If he was unwilling to do so, we approach all the other brothers. If they were unwilling to return to the elders, say to him, the mitzvah is incumbent upon you, performing the chalitza or yibum. If he deferred to a minor until he becomes of age, or to the eldest until he arrives from overseas, or to a deaf mute or an idiot, we do not listen to him, but we say to him, this mitzvah is incumbent upon you, perform either chalitza or yibum.
Okay. Choletz le'evimto. All right. What happens when one of the brothers does chalitza? Hare hu ke'echad min ha'achin lenachala. He is no different from any of the other brothers as far as the inheritance is concerned. So what happens with the chalitza is that im yesh shamav nechasim shalav. So if the father is still alive, then the father inherits the deceased son. Yeah, that's the normal rules of Yerusha.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Normal rules of Yerusha, it goes back to the father, and if there is no father, then the father is basically the dead father is a conduit for his Yerusha to pass down to his sons. So now all the surviving brothers have an equal share in whatever's left over from the dead brother. Okay. Shemav, nechasim shel Hakones es yavimto. Now, what happens if he actually gets married by Yibum to this Yevama? Zacha ben Achasim Shalav. Now he takes the entire inheritance of his deceased brother. By marrying the widow, he is entitled to take over the entire estate. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ben kach o ben kach im yesh shamav nechasim shalav. So Rabbi Yehuda is a lone voice who says no, the inheritance still works according to the laws of inheritance, that it goes to the father first if the father is alive. But this is not the halacha as far as I'm aware. Yeah, the halacha is not like Rabbi Yehuda. Okay. Hacholetz li'evimto. Now, aside from the rules of Yerusha, there are also rules of marriage. Because once he's done chalitza, Chazal made it keilu he had divorced her. And since
Mhm.
since he has divorced, it's keilu it's like he's divorced her. He's asked her to marry her relatives. Okay, who asur b'krovasev? He asur b'krovav, and she is forbidden to marry any of his relatives. Okay, who asur b'ima? So just to spell that out, he is prohibited from marrying her mother, uva aim ima, uva aim aviha, uva vita, basbita, uva basbana. Right, so her grandmother, her daughter, her granddaughter, uva achosa bisman shehi kayemes, and her sister too, while the widow is alive. Once she's died, then there's no more prohibition of a sister. Achin, now his brothers are permitted to all of these relatives. They didn't do the chalitza, therefore they are permitted to her relatives. But he asura ba'aviv, and she is prohibited to his father, over avi aviv, and to his grandfather, ubivno, over ben veno, and to his son, and to his grandfather, and to his son, and to his grandson. To his brothers. Well, of course, she's prohibited to his paternal brothers, because his paternal brothers obviously were married were are Ashes. They were the guys who didn't do the Yibum to her, so for sure they're all forbidden to her. But more to the point is that even to his maternal brother she is forbidden.
Okay.
Okay, over Ben Achiv. And also to his nephews, because a nephew is not allowed to marry his uncle's wife. Cat got a little bit stroppy there, huh? Okay. Um, Now, mutar adam bekrovas tsaras chalutzaso, v'asur betzaras krovas chalutzaso. Okay, so that little succinct statement tells us a bit about relationships, that um, a person is mutar to marry a relative, um, of the tzara of the woman that he did chalitza to. So
Right.
just to spell out the relationship, let me just do a share over here again. Um, oh, no, I've lost you. Where have you gone?
I have his brother's son.
No, no, I'm just trying. While I'm doing the share, I lost my picture of you.
Oh,
And so
I see you. I'm on
no,
top.
no, it just disappeared off my screen, so I got to find you again. There you are. Okay. Um, fine. So here we go. Shimon is the deceased brother. He was married to Miriam and Rachel, right? Who are not related to each other. So if Reuven does chalitza to Miriam, okay, obviously he's not permitted to Rachel because that's his brother's wife, but Leah, her sister, is permitted to him. So you look at the clear picture there with Shimon removed from the picture and Miriam removed from the picture. He can't marry Rachel, but he can marry Leah.
Right.
Okay, that's the statement of a person is permitted to the relative of the co-wife of his chalutza, but he is prohibited asur b'tzaras krovas chalutzaso, but he is not allowed to marry the tzara of a relative of his chalutza. So let's take this situation. So when you've got the sisters Rachel and Leah who are married to Shimon and Levi, and Shimon dies, leaving and Reuven does chalitza to Rachel. So Leah now is the sister of his chalutza. So now if Levi had to die, Reuven would be prohibited to Leah because it's Rachel's sister. That's the sister of his chalutza. And since he's prohibited to Leah, he's also prohibited to Leah's co-wife Miriam.
Okay. Well,
Okay, article diagrams help a lot.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, breathe deeply. It's all good. It's all good. Okay, there are no diagrams over here, so I think I will stop my share. All right. All right. He does chalitza nasa achi vis achoso. Okay, and now his brother comes and marries the sister of the chalutza. Okay, V'meis, and now this brother dies. Choletzes v'lo misyabemis. Okay, because this is his chalutza's sister, he's not allowed to do yibum to her. But since this is also a prohibition midarabanan, then but Daraisa he would have been allowed to marry her. Therefore, this is one of the situations where he cannot do the yibum, but he must do a chalitza. Okay, you with me over there?
I think
So
so.
anytime again we got to be clear about it. Anytime where there's an Isser Torah, an Isser Erva min Torah, then there's no bond at all. Right? He couldn't get married to her if he put a ring on her finger, it wouldn't work. Okay, that's so in that situation there is no din of yibum or chalitza. But since so that would be, for example, his wife's sister. His wife's sister is an erva min haTorah, but his chalutza's sister is a din d'Rabbanan that was paskin because it looks like his wife's sister. Okay, and because it's a din d'Rabbanan, he's not allowed to marry her because it's asa d'Rabbanan, but he also
Right.
needs to give her a chalitza in order to get her out of the d'oraisa. That's what we're saying over here. V'chein
Mm.
megarish is ishto. Also, if a man divorced his wife, the nasa achiv is achosa. Okay, so it's just, what happens if a man divorced his wife, and his brother married his divorced wife's sister? Right? So that's his wife's sister basically. And if his brother now dies, he cannot do yibum to his wife's sister, even though it's his ex-wife. Doesn't matter ex-wife or wife. He's not allowed to marry her sister, and it's an ereva min Torah. Harei zo petura min hachalitza umin hayibum. So because it's on a doraisa level that he's asked to marry her, there is no din of yibum by her at all. Okay, so she walks free without a chalitza. Does this all make sense?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good.
Perfect. Oh
Okay,
wow. Okay.
okay, it's not complicated. If it's deraisa, then there's no kesher. If it's
Right.
derabanan, we got to get rid of the kesher.
Okay.
Ishtates, Shomeres Yavam, woman who's Shomeres Yavam is a woman who's awaiting Yibum. She kiddush achi v'sachosa. Okay, now this is one where truly we probably needed a diagram, but I don't think there was a diagram in this one.
Uh,
In Mishnah 9. It's not terribly complicated, but let's say you've got your three brothers,
right,
Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Okay, Reuven is married to Rachel, and he died.
right,
Okay. So now Shimon wanted to come and deal with the Yavama, but meanwhile Levi went and did kiddushin with Rachel's sister Leah. So Levi and Leah have now are now technically married. They've done kiddushin, but he shouldn't have done that because Levi is also a surviving brother, and he is and he has a zikah to Rachel. He should not have gone and done kiddushin to Leah because that's his achos zakukaso. Okay, but there is an eitzah how to get out of this mess. Okay, the Mishum Rabbi Yehuda ben Beser Amru Omrim lo. We say to Levi, Hamtain ad sheyase achicha hagadol maseh. We can solve your problem. Levi, were a naughty boy. You should not have done kiddushin to Leah because she's achos zakukaso. But we can get you out of the mess. Shimon can go and do chalitza or yibum to Rachel, and then he breaks the zikah to you, and you can carry on with your marriage to Leah. Okay. So chalatz la achiv or kanasa. So if Shimon goes and does yibum or chalitza, ichnos is ishto. Then Levi is good, and phew, crisis averted. However, okay. Oh, also what happens is if Rachel herself dies, Rachel dies. Now that again severs the bond of Zika, and Yichnos is ishto, and Levi can now marry the sister. All good. But the unhappy situation is where Shimon now dies before he could do Yibum or Chalitza. So now
right.
Levi is left. He's married to Leah, but he's also got an unbreakable zika to Rachel. He has no choice. Yotzi es ishto beget. He has to divorce Leah. Ve'eshes achiv b'chalitza, and he has to do chalitza with Rachel in order to get himself out of the situation. And we dealt with these situations long ago when we had the uh, two brothers, the two brothers married to two sisters, and they both died. And you've got one surviving brother. He has to do chalitza to both of them. So the same thing over here. He's not allowed to be married to them because each of them has got a zikah to him, and so we had no choice in this situation but to tell him, sorry, you got to divorce her. Okay, base Gimel.
Base, okay. A general principle was stated concerning the Yevama. Anyone prohibited because of an herb performs neither performs chalitza or is taken in yibum. If a prohibition is by commandment or because of sanctity, she requires chalitza by commandment taken in yibum. If her sister is a fellow Yevama, she may either perform chalitza or be taken in yibum. Prohibitions by commandment are secondary arayas by rabbinical decree. Prohibitions because of sanctity are a widow with a Kohen Gadol, a divorcee, a kaluta to an ordinary Kohen, a mamzeres, a nisanite to an Israel, and the daughter of a Yisrael to a nisanite or men's mamzer. One who has a brother of any kind binds his brother's wife with yibum and is considered to be his brother in all respects, except for someone who has a brother from a slave woman or non-Jewish. One who has a son of any kind releases his father's wife from yibum is liable for striking or cursing him and considered his son in every respect, except for someone who has a son from a slave woman or a non-Jewish. Okay.
Okay,
Simple
fine.
enough. Okay. Tanis. Tanis, Dalit, hey. The wood festival of the Kohanim and the people were celebrated 9 times a year. On the first of Nisan, the family of Arak and the tribe of Judah did so. On the 20th of Tammuz, the family of David and the tribe of Yehuda did so. On the 5th of Av, the family of Parosh on the tribe of Yehuda did so. On the 7th of the month, the 7th of Yonadab, the son of Rachab, did so. On the 10th of that month, the family of Sinah of the tribe of Benjamin did so. On the 15th of the month, the family of Zatu of the tribe of Yehuda did so, and along with them were the Kohanim and Levium and anyone who was uncertain of his tribe, and the family of Pestel, smugglers, the family of the fig cutters, did so. On the 20th of the month, the family of Pakas Moav on the tribe of Yehuda did so. On the 20th of Elul, the family of Adon on the tribe of Yehuda did so. On the 1st of Tevis, the family of Paros returned the second time. On the 1st of Tevis, there was no Mamad, since Hallel was recited, and Musaf sacrifice and a wood offering were brought thereon. 5 incidents befell our ancestors on the 7th of Tammuz and 5 on the 9th of Av. On the 7th of Tammuz, the tablets were broken, the continued daily sacrifice was continued. The city wall was breached, a blasphemous burned the Torah, and placed an image in the sanctuary. On the 9th of Av, it was decreed that our ancestors they would not enter the land. The temple was destroyed for the first time, and the second time, Beitar was conquered, and the city was plowed under. Therefore, when Av begins, we curtail joy. Okay. That's it, I think.
No, one more.
Okay, during the week of Tisha B'Av, it is forbidden to cut hair or launder clothes. However, on Thursday, it is permitted because of the honor due to the Sabbath. On the afternoon before Tisha B'Av, a person may not eat two cooked foods, nor may one eat meat or drink wine. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel says he need merely make some variants. The Yehuda requires overturning the beds, but the sages do not agree with him. Okay. And we are to
Shkolim.
Aleph Dalet. Says Yehuda ben Brochi that testified in Yavna that any Kohen who contributes to half shekel is not sinned. Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai replied to ben Brochi, it is not so. Rather, any Kohen who does not contribute to half shekel has sinned, but the Kohen interpret the following verse for their own benefit. Every meal offering of a Kohen shall be entirely burnt, may not be eaten. The Omer offering, the 2 loaves and the pound of bread are ours, and how may they be eaten? Though they have said they do not seize collateral from women, slaves, and minors, nevertheless, if they contribute, they have shekel, we accept it from them. However, for Gentile or Kuthian contributed, we do not accept it from them, nor do we accept from them bird offerings of Zavim, Zavos of women after childbirth, no sin offerings or guilt offerings, but we accept vow offerings or gift offerings from them. This is the general rule. Whatever may be vowed or donated, we accept from them. Whatever may not be vowed or donated, we do not accept from them. And so it has been made clear by Ezra, as it is said, it is not for you and for us to build a house for our God. Okay. The following are obligated to play a kalban. Levium, Yisraelim, proselytes, approximated slaves, and not Kohanim, women slaves or minors. One who contributes to a Kohen, women slave or minor is exempt. If one contributes for himself or his colleague, he is obligated for only 1 kalban. Rameir says 2. One who gives a seller and takes back a shekel must pay 2 kalbanos.
Okay.
And we are on to, okay, Shavuos. Shavuos should be, okay, here we go. Reb Shimon Siseri says the Egyptian beans sown from the outset for seed. Likewise, Reb Shimon says large-sized beans. Likewise, Reb Eliezer says large-sized beans if they begin to form pods before Rosh Hashanah. Seedless onions and Egyptian beans from which water has been withheld for 30 days before Rosh Hashanah are tithed according to the past year and are permitted in the 7th year. But if they are not permitted, they are forbidden in the 7th year and are tithed in accordance with the next year. And also those in rainwater fields from which water has been withheld for 2 spells, so says Rameir, but the sages say 3. Gourds that he kept for seed, if they hardened before Rosh Hashanah, became unfit for human food, they may be kept in the 7th year, but if not, it is forbidden to keep them in the 7th year. Tamarot are forbidden in the 7th year, and one may water white soil. So says Reb Shimon. Reb Eliezer ben Yaakov forbids if one may soak the rice in the 7th year. Reb Shimon says, but one may not trim.
Okay.
Caleb. Yud. A privy stool can become tummy with both midras tuma and corpse tuma. If it is separated, the leather can become tummy with midras tuma, and the iron can become tummy with corpse tuma. A trasko whose cover is of leather can become tummy with both midras tuma and corpse tuma. If it's separated, the leather can become tummy with midras tuma, and the trasko is completely tahor. Benches of a bathhouse whose 2 legs are wooden are tummy, and if one leg is wooden, the other is stone, it is tahor. Regarding the boards of a bathhouse, that one is smooth, Rebbe Kiva rules them tummy, but the sages rule them tahor, since they are only made for the water to run underneath them. A fumigator that is a receptacle for garments is tummy, but a fumigator made like a beehive is tahor. Regarding a ball, shoe form, an amulet, or tefillin that tore, one who touches them is tameh, but one who touches their contents is tahor. Regarding a salad that tore, one who touches its contents is tameh, but for the stitching connects it, connects it. The following utensils are tameh as markav: an askelon strap, a medium mortar, a paddle sack of a camel, and a saddle of a horse. Yossi says even a saddle of a horse is tameh as moshav because they stand on it in the sporting grounds, but a saddle is on a dromedary is tameh. Okay. Let's see. All right. Okay. We're gonna finish this tomorrow. Let me see.
No, Caleb.
Uh,
Caleb's got a
No,
long.
yeah, we
Oh,
got a long way to go.
huh?
We got a long way to go. Okay, Makos. Okay, Gimel Hay. One who makes a bald spot on his head or rounds the corner of his head, or who destroys the corner of his beard or inflicts upon himself a single gash over someone who has died is liable. If he inflicted one gash over 5 people who died, over 5 gashes over one person who died, he is liable for each one. On the head, two, one on each side. On the beard, two on each side and one below. With Elliot says if he removes it all at once, he is liable only once. If he is not liable unless he removes it with a razor, Reb Elliot says if he plucked it with a tweezer or with a plane, he is liable. One who makes a tattoo, but if he wrote but did not prick it into the skin, or he pricked the skin but did not write, he is not liable unless he writes and pricks it into the skin with ink, or with blue dye, or with anything that makes a mark. Reb Shimon ben Yehuda says the name of Reb Shimon, he is not liable unless he writes a name there, as it is said, and a tattoo shall you not place upon yourselves, I am Hashem. Nasiru, who kept drinking wine all day, is liable only once, and they said to him, do not drink, do not drink, and he kept drinking, he is liable for each one.
Okay,
Okay,
that's it.
great. Okay, terrific. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Lovely
Have a
day.
great day. Enjoy. Thank you. Enjoy.
Bye.